How y'all doing? We are back with another episode of A Little Taste of Stanbrough. I am Krista, and today is Juneteenth. Oh, sorry. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. We are going to make chocolate cake today. A very special chocolate cake, I might add. And so, I don't know if I can mention the name of this cake, but I think you'll know the one I'm talking about because the chocolate comes in this green box from the grocery store. And I think that kind of tells you which one it is. It's so good. And it really isn't that difficult to make. I think you guys can do this. Give it a try. Think of this cake in 3 steps and then you'll be able to make it work. All right? So in this bowl, I got 2 sticks of butter and I'm about to add 2 cups of sugar. So 2 sticks of butter is 1 cup. And I got 2 cups of sugar. Got that. Whoosh. And we're going to do what they call cream the butter and sugar together. So they're going to mix a little bit. And we really like this cake around here, but I really only make it about once a year. Sometimes twice. But I don't make it a lot. I started making this cake about 14, 15 years ago. Well, actually, maybe a little further back than that. But when my dad passed away, I started making this cake because it was his favorite cake and his birthday is in June. And so I started making it kind of for him. And so when he passed away that next year, around his birthday, I decided to make the cake. It was just kind of, I don't know, it just made me feel closer to him. And then after I got married, I found out that this was my husband's favorite cake and he also has a June birthday. But that is not why the cake is famous around here. I've always had trouble with this cake. It has been termed the saint cake, and I'll tell you why. So, wait, before I tell you that, look at this. So, my butter and sugar, they are creamed together quite nicely. See how they've mixed up pretty good? All right, now I'm going to add 4 eggs. I'm going to add them one at a time and let them mix in. And I'll tell you about the saint cake now. So, 1 egg at a time. This is the egg yolk, not the white. The whites I have in the refrigerator in a glass bowl. We'll use the egg whites later on. Right now, we're just going to use the egg yolks. So 1 at a time, make sure they're all mixed in. And then we're going to add the chocolate. So we use the entire bar of that green chocolate. And I mix it with a half a cup of water. One of my eggs broke, so I really got 2 eggs going in at once there. That's okay. It'll all come out good in the end. Yeah. So while that's kind of mixing together, this is the chocolate. So this was that entire chocolate bar. I broke it up into pieces. I have a picture of that for you. You'll see it. I put a half a cup of water in here. I put this in the microwave for 1 minute. Everybody's microwave is different. You might need 30 seconds. You might need a minute and a half. But just enough so that it melts. And then I stirred it all together. Doesn't it look luscious? Oh my God. Alright, so that's chocolate. But don't taste this chocolate because there's no sugar in it. And you'll be disappointed. Sugar is in here. Alright. Alright, so now that our eggs have mixed in, I'm going to pour in the chocolate. And get it to mixing up. And I'm also going to put in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I don't want to miss any of this chocolate. I want all of it to go in there. Get in the cake, chocolate. Get in there. Alright, so I told you I was going to tell you why we call this the saint cake. So, a lot of people think this is a difficult cake to make. It's really not terrible. It's not difficult. It's just, you have to be organized. But, I used to have trouble getting all the layers to be level. Here's our vanilla. And I made the cake one year at my cousin's house because I was concerned about my oven. My oven wasn't baking right. All these things. Every year something would happen. The cake, it would taste great, but it would just look like, oh my God, it looked horrible. but it would taste really good. So I went to her house and I made the cake. All my family was in the living room watching the movie on TV. I was gonna make 2 cakes, and I did, and I had the cake done. Her oven worked out for me really great. I got it all assembled, had it on this glass platter. It was so pretty, and I was like just about finished, and I was standing at this, you know, kind of like I am now, with the sink next to me and the counter, and I turned my head, and the entire cake platter slid into the sink. And I thought I was gonna die. I was like, oh! It was awful. Everybody came in and, what's wrong? What's wrong? I wanted to just quit. So, thus it's called the sink cake, because I dropped the entire cake into the sink. And had it not been for the second cake, we wouldn't have had any cake that day. And it not only was it in the sink, but I had dishwater in there like I always do, and it went straight in the dishwater. Soap, bleach, hot water, cake. It was a mess. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so I stopped mixing here because you have to scrape the sides down. So you can kind of see when I scrape the sides down, you can see some of this didn't get mixed up in the chocolate, and that's why I tend to do that. So I have brought that down. I'm going to mix it a little bit more. Make sure I got it all in there. Good. And now what we're going to do is what I call step 2 and 3. This is 1 cup of buttermilk. And right here is 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to sift it. I like to sift my flour, you know, make sure it's nice and fine. You can use cake flour. It's a really nice product too, but this works just as well for me, and so I keep doing it. All right, so now that I have all of that in there, I'm going to alternate between flour and the buttermilk. So I'm going to put just a little bit in. Put a little flour in at a time. And then when that mixes up, I'm going to add a little buttermilk. And I'm going to do that back and forth until all of it is in there. So I'll be back in a second when I get all of that there. Okay, so when I left you, I was going back and forth between the flour and the buttermilk. This is the last little bit of buttermilk I'm putting in here. And all of this is going to get combined together. And I know, surprisingly, we're almost done. I know you didn't expect that. One thing that made this go by quicker is in the beginning when we had the butter and the sugar, I bring all of my ingredients to room temperature when I'm baking a cake. So that butter, I had that sitting out for most of the day actually. I had it sitting out to get to room temperature. The eggs, I separated the eggs. And so I probably could teach you guys how to separate eggs, but I kind of get a feeling that you would know how. But I separated the eggs and I kept the yolks in one bowl, the whites in the other bowl. That bowl is in the fridge, and that's what we're about to take out now as soon as this is done, and I think it is. Ooh, it looks good. I love cake. Holy smokes. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and grab, let me get what we need next. I'm gonna move this over. It looks really pretty. And I'm gonna now get our egg whites. And I just use a hand mixer for those so that I don't have to clear out the entire, this entire bowl in order to mix these. Now, if you remember from previous videos, when we want to whip up egg whites and get stiff peaks, it's better if the bowl is cold and the yolks and the whites are cold. If they're room temperature, it'll take forever and you may not even be able to get them there, especially if the room is really hot. So I'm going to mix those up, and then the next thing we'll do is we'll fold all this together and get it in the oven. All right, so we got that done. And what we have left now, and that really, I mean, that didn't take long at all. God, that was fast. If you have everything together, it doesn't take long to do this. So now what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna take this off of here. If I can get it over to me. I'm gonna take the paddle off. You can use whatever kind of mixing bowl you have, it doesn't matter. I didn't always have this nice mixer I have now, but it's a real workhorse and I enjoy having it around. I have to leave this for the birthday boy or anybody else who's gonna grab it when I put it down. All right, here are those egg whites. I'm gonna put them inside our mixture here. Oh, I should have took it off. Let me take this off so you can see better. Because we are done with that for now. All right, there we go. All right, so we'll put these in. And so they're all fluffy, they're all full of air because we have whipped the bejesus out of them. And now that it's in the cake batter, I'm gonna be careful how I mix these in. So I put the mixer up. It's elbow grease time, all right? So we're gonna fold them, and folding means you're gonna reach from the bottom, pull it back over the top. Under the bottom, back over the top. And you'll do that until they're all mixed up. And you'll be standing here thinking, how long am I gonna have to fold? This is called folding. How long will I have to fold these egg whites in? Well, you'll do it until they're all mixed up. Because I'm really not stirring. I'm folding. All right. So you say, why can't I just stir it up and be quicker and be done? Because I don't want to pop all of these bubbles I got in these egg whites. And stirring will do that much faster than folding. All right. All right, so I'm going to finish folding this. And while I'm doing that, I want to talk about what's going to happen when you put this in your cake pan. So you can use this to make cupcakes. You know, get yourself the little paper things, put it in the cupcake holder, bake them that way. You can make a layer cake, or you can make this a 13 by 9 cake. Do whatever you want to do. I usually make this with either 3, 4 layers, sometimes 2 layers if I'm feeling lazy. But what I'll do, in order to make sure all the layers are the same height, is, I know you guys are gonna be like, nope, you had me right until the end. I use my digital scale and I weigh each one to make sure I have the same amount of batter in each cake pan. I know, close your mouth, it's okay. All right. So once I do that, I will take my cake pans. You're gonna have to grease the cake pan. This is about done. Let me wash my hands. You're gonna have to grease the cake pan. And you're also gonna have to use parchment paper. Parchment paper, not wax paper. Wax paper has wax. We don't want to eat wax. Parchment paper is wax paper without the wax, all right? And it will make the difference between getting your cake out the pan in one piece or not. So what's our word for today? Parchment paper. Okay, so it looks like this. This is my cake pan. I cut this out in a circle and it's going to sit in here. But I'm also going to use, I don't want to use the name I buy, but shortening is what my mom would call it. And I'm going to grease the pan generously because it'd be such a shame to have made this great cake and then you can't get it out of the pan. So I'm going to grease the sides and the bottom. And then we're going to get this into 4 cake pans and bake it in the oven on 350 for 30 minutes. So you have to watch your cake. At 30 minutes, or close to 30 minutes, you could take the cake out, use a toothpick, Take a toothpick, insert it into the cake, pull it straight out. If it comes out clean, your cake is done. If it comes out and has cake on it, cake's not done. Okay? All right, so I'm going to get this into our 4 pans, get this baked up, and we'll be back. All right, so we are back. So what I did while you were away is I baked the cake in the oven for 30 minutes. I made sure it was done. We talked about using a toothpick. So you stick the toothpick down into the cake, pull it straight out. It should come out clean. And that's how you know it's done. What I also did, which I'll show you a couple pictures of, is when I took the cake out of the oven, I let it set for 10 minutes to cool off, right? Once it's set for 10 minutes, I flipped the cakes out onto a wire rack and I let them cool off some more. Once they were cool, I went on and stacked the cake. This cake is very it's soft. It's really, really good, and it's kind of fragile. So if you're concerned about handling it, you could put it in the freezer, which is what is suggested in a lot of places. If you really bake cakes, you know all this already. But you could put it in the freezer. So if I didn't want to make it today because I was going to have to work or something, you know, I could have made this cake a couple days ago, put it in my freezer, and then took it out and did all of the icing on the day of. Because once you get out of the freezer, it'll thaw out. It'll thaw out in less than an hour. So while it's frozen, you can handle it without it falling apart. So this is our finished product down here. And I put one layer down, I put chocolate icing, I put the next layer down, icing. Now, I know this cake typically has a coconut and pecan frosting. Nobody in my family likes it but me. So, I've had to conform to their wishes and make it all chocolate. But you could put whatever icing you want to put on it. Today, it's chocolate because that's what the birthday boy likes, and so that's what we're going to give him. And once we have everyone over and we cut this cake, I will show you an inside picture. But in the meantime, I thank you for joining me. Glad you're subscribing. Hit the like button and the bell so you know every time we put out a new post, you'll know it, right? Thanks again for watching.